Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin, and joining us this morning, Dr. Dan Ekere of the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos. Great to have you, Dan.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Indeed. And Ademola Adegoke. Mr. Adegoke is a communications expert. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning, Yori, and good morning, viewers at home.
Indeed. Well, today we might as well focus on what I think is the trending news. Local government autonomy, for financial autonomy. It's on the way. Has it arrived? Is it going to be different? Of course, you know, I'm talking about the NFIU, the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, and its new directives, all of which are to protect local government funds from governors via something called a state joint local government account. So the local government chairman, the local government councils themselves don't have a direct say on what their money is. It would appear that now there is no interruption direct from the federation account to the local government councils themselves. This has been called for a long time, and it's very, very important. However, are there any pitfalls? Were there any reasons beyond greed? Political greed, some might say, but I don't know, perhaps not. I read in the report that Nigeria itself was at threat because this practice was so pervasive up and down the land that concern began to grow for, you know, money laundering, quite frankly, and perhaps a lack of a sufficiently strenuous effort to combat it. If you can interrupt funds meant for the councils, and then decide what's the best way in which to use them, and then release them accordingly. So, gentlemen, let me have your perspectives. Let me start with Dan.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Yori. And I think, well, so far, it's been a very sad, situation that governors are mini gods. Ordinarily, by virtue of what we operate, there are 3 tiers of government. Though I don't find it very convenient anyway, but that is what is. So I expect that every of these particular, tiers of government should operate as they ought to be. But from what we have seen over the years, you discover that there are just 2 tiers of government, the state and the federal. And at the end of the day, what is meant for the local government, the state can toil with it and do anything. In fact, local government chairmen are like mere appendages. They are like stooges. They can't do anything on their own. You know, it's the governor who determines what happens. They can't query government. I think I've only heard of one, I can't remember which local government now, a particular state where a local government chairman challenged the governor. They even went as far as going to the court or something. I can't remember the details. Otherwise, you just find that governors suspend chairmen, suspend councillors, puts in caretaker. In some cases, they don't even ever do election throughout that, and the entire allocations that come, they do whatever they like with it. For me, that does not augur well.
Okay.
All right? It doesn't augur well. It doesn't show any...
Let me come back to you, and thank you for that opening. And I wanted to come to Demola now. Do you also see it from that point of view that there might have been governors that have ridden roughshod over their councils to their detriment?
I have a maybe somewhat different perspective to this whole issue. I know that many of our compatriots are excited, are somewhat thrilled by this development, but if there is one Nigerian that is somewhat worried, here is one, and I have my reasons. Yes, we can be talking of the way the governors toy with the local government funds, but we need to actually go back to the Constitution to see that this action is not a violation. We need to go back to the Constitution to examine very well. One,
that is the bringing to bear of a lack of financial autonomy in the local councils.
The bringing to that is direct deployment of funds. to local government councils.
That is the way it should be.
No, if you look at the Constitution, yeah, because the state local government joint account is a creation of the Constitution. It's a creation of our Constitution. If you are setting that aside now, you may have violated the Constitution. That's the way I see it. But let me also learn.
I hear you. And that was fingered. That particular account was fingered in this whole sort of rethink that it is through that account that this much damage has been able to be done.
No, I'm just building up. Okay. You see, there are two things we have done with this. It is either, even when Dan was talking, because I know he knows, he said there are 3 tiers of government. And there is nothing like that in federalism worldwide. There is nothing like that. Students of government and political science will tell you that in a federalism, you have, the central government and the government of the, component units. So we are doing either of two things. Either we are creating our own brand of federalism, or we are turning federalism on its head.
On its head, sort of.
On its head,
sort of. Let me ask Dan if he agrees that indeed we are aware of what federalism is in our daily life, in our governance.
In my opening, I told you that I have reservations about.
You did say so.
Yes,
you did.
And that's exactly the issue that I was really bothered about. Because truly, when you operate federalism, you have the federal and you have the components. You see, but at the same time, too, when you look at it from the point of view of the various federal states we've seen, they are unlike the Nigerian states. Those were bodies that were operating on their own before they became part of. They can decide when to. All right? But in this particular case, it is the federal that has been creating them. You see, that is part of the warped system we're operating now. The component parts that you call are actually a creation of the federal. It's the federal government that has been created. Yes. You find the head of state who will create, states. That is not what you find in many other places. Those were, bodies that were on their own. They could decide to join or not to join. We all know how the American state came to be, and many other federal states. So they are more or less autonomous, even before ever aligning with anybody to be part of the federal.
Yes. So which is the objective in this particular exercise?
Yeah, but in this particular case, that is not what is. We have a scenario
our current state.
Yes.
That is not what is.
That is not what is.
And this new directive from NFIU would seek to move us to that place.
No, it will not. It will not.
It will not.
No. You see, my own take on this is this: we cannot be clamoring for true federalism in one breath, and we are taking actions, that are strengthening unitarism in another breath. This action is, giving Philip to unitarism, as far as I am concerned, and because if you are, let me
understand it, please. I'm fascinated by your line of reasoning. That direct from the federation account to the council.
Yes.
That is part of the promotion of unity.
It is. The way if you want to look at it, it is strengthening unitarism. And like he said, he was saying that the federal structure of our own country is different from what you find in many other, similar states worldwide, because those were bodies that were in existence before, they agreed to come into, to form a federation. Ours, I want to argue, was also like that before the incursion of military into politics. Let it be said that the regions that we had, pre-1966 were autonomous. They ran their own constitution. They ran, and the military came and bastardized it. And we have now taken it as the gospel truth. And we have sort of taken it as the gospel truth. So if we must say that this is okay, then we have no reason to ask questions about Lagos having 20 local government councils and Jigawa and Kano having, maybe close to 80, which the two were just one state, when Lagos State was also one. And even as we speak today, Lagos State still has, a larger population than Kano. But Kano alone has 44, so we have no reason to question that logic.
But we will be able to question the
that
inefficiencies.
will bring me to...
Sorry, Dan. I wanted to... Would we be able to question the supposed alleged inefficiencies in the interception of local government funds by the governor via the joint account, and then deciding how it is to be deployed and for what it is to be deployed? Are there inefficiencies in there too?
Yeah, in fact, in practically all the systems, there is always inefficiency. It's a question of how you handle it. All right, how you manage the situation. That funds will even go direct to local government does not guarantee that they will be properly utilized.
because that's the other layer of this conversation.
In some cases,
now, what are those
even the
funds,
local government chairmen are
what
worse.
Type of people are they going to? Are those funds going to meet?
At the local government levels, most times you don't even get any form of criticism, any form of agitation, anything. Yeah, the local government chairmen and the councillors are just like, so chances are that when the funds even go directly, we might even have a worse situation. It's not impossible. You see, but the point I really want to make is that I find this situation very awkward. I expect a situation that, and that will have to do with constitutional provisions, that if we must operate a federal system in this particular scenario, it has to be between the states and the federal. Now, leave the issue of local governments to the states. Let states create as many local governments as they would wish. So the question of listing 774 local governments in the federal constitution, for me, there can't be any fraud worse than that. It's because, like I just mentioned, look at the number of local governments that were, these were creations of government. Somebody somewhere just felt that a Kano state should have 44, Kaduna should have this one should have that. What was the indices used? Is it landmass? Is local government created for animals? Is it created for just... what exactly was it meant for? Because if it's about population, let that person tell me that state in Nigeria that is more populous than Lagos. If you like, manipulate the census, whatever. But in terms of human beings, I doubt if there's any state like Lagos. If they doubt it, let's do the data capture and see, leave all those manipulations. Let's see who is actually alive somewhere, and we'll be able to tell. So that is not happening. If we must operate a system where you really want, these states to work well, then we must do it in such a manner that it shouldn't be the state and federal sharing money to the extent of the state. It's almost like, giving beggars money. Okay, it should be the states that should be paying taxes to the center.
It's interesting. When one of you, I think when you mentioned the 774 local government, I remember that figure also came up because they, in this new drive, have said that no more than $500,000 can possibly be spent by any local government per day. Maybe thinking about some of the abuses or inefficiencies that conceptually could occur, they were thinking about that. But before you even look at that, please, if you want to hold on to it so that I can take Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to your panelists as well.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, I am not a supporter of local government autonomy. Reason being that it is not because they want to work. It's because they want money to share. If you go to an average local government, even outside Lagos here, they just come to the local government secretariat on a particular day of the month to share money, and then they go away. You don't see them again. In Lagos here, Uncle Yori, even in Lagos of all places, you don't see a local government that can even fill potholes. Does it mean that they don't get money at all? The little one that they are getting now, or the one that the governor is passing on to them, what do they do with it? You see car parks, they are not managed. You see roads, cars are wrongly blocked. You see marketplaces very dirty. They don't clean gutters. What do? Nothing. When they are talking about autonomy, they are asking for more money to share. I want to see them do work. If they are ready to work, we will see the work they are doing with the little one they have now. Lagos State government, for example, is responsible for all roads, both inner roads and all the local governments. The roads that are supposed to be local government roads. To fill a pothole, the state governor has to come and do it. Is that what the local government is looking for money to do? I'm sorry, I don't support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. And I think he actually brings us to the ultimate question in this conversation we're having, starting with the technical matters, which you gentlemen have addressed very, very briefly. But it comes down to the quality of governance at the said local government. It sounds all fine, all good on paper, but depending on the quality of governance, and that's one of the inefficiencies we might have thought of, because I think somebody said they're almost like an appendage in some cases. Yeah. Not that they themselves would agree, but
they would agree. But
yes,
that's what they are.
But
there's that will be an all-important.
There is a grant for that.
There's a grant for it.
There is a grant for it.
You see, even the way the elections are conducted.
So we're coming to the quality, the governance,
yes.
how we create the governance level at local governments.
We've seen it, that every state in Nigeria, the party at the state level wins all the local government seats, no matter how popular any other person is. So that is the situation you find. And most of these ones, in a local government where you find a very popular candidate, who ordinarily should be the winner, not winning because somebody wanted to plant, even a stooge will still be something better, because the way they are done sometimes, they can't even ask. It's shocking. So when you find that kind of a scenario, how do you expect the person to perform? But we must equally recognize too that in a place like Lagos, some of the taxes that should be collected by the local government are actually being collected by the state. So if the state is collecting them, how do you expect the local government to perform?
Okay. So one moment. Honorable Kunle in Akure, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm enjoying the program. I have a little thing I want to chip in.
Sure.
Fundamentally, I'm a former member of Ondo House of Assembly here till 2011. So I was in the House of Assembly. Are you hearing me, sir?
We can hear you.
I was in the House of Assembly when they brought in the local government autonomous, whatever bill they brought it from Abuja. Mimiko was the governor of Ondo State, but we voted MSC here that we don't want local government autonomy. And I was in that same House of Assembly. Ondo State people are hearing me now. I was in the Assembly, but the people voted that we don't want local government autonomy. So there was nothing we could do. My brother, I've listened to one or two people that talked earlier before me. There is nothing we could do. If the local government people are going to steal money, let them steal money. The governors are stealing money. People are stealing money. They will still do something with that money. Of course, they will only steal the remaining. So I'm in the support of the local government authority. So what the Mr. President is doing, what the presidency is doing, is a good job for me. Whichever way we can go about it to influence the people, to push the people to agree that local government must have autonomy is what we should do.
Even though, Honorable, as you say, they will steal a portion of it, as you put it.
At all levels.
If you put me there as local government, I will steal it. I may not steal so much because maybe I've gotten to a lot of things that are paraphernalia of a good person.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kunle, for your contribution.
But we thank God that at least he said that they will steal little, but at least they will still do something.
But they will do something.
And that now takes me to this.
So we're looking at the quality of governance at that level.
Perhaps you will...
And be realistic.
Perhaps you will allow me to digress a little, from the question.
If you want to digress in a related way.
Yeah, in a related way.
Okay.
You see, I know we all have appliances in our homes. And the first thing we do when we buy a new appliance is to look at the manual on how it's to be operated.
Unless you're a man. Unless you're a man. Because men don't read instruction manual. They try first, and only when they hit a problem, then they say, where is the manual of this thing?
Go back to the manual. I think we need to go back to the manual of what a federation should be. And we should also ask, you see, maybe some of us are a bit on the conservative side. We should also ask, how was it? You know, I mentioned pre-1966. How was it? There were local government councils
Sorry,
then.
Demola, I dare say, I understand your question. I would dare say that we know what a federal system is. Perhaps the question is, why can't we allow it?
So now the issue now is
we do call ourselves the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We are trying to solve a problem, and we are creating more.
By solving one problem, we're creating more.
We are creating more.
Okay.
You know, the Englishman will say you don't spite your nose to save your face. But we are doing something that is, you know, akin to that now.
Cutting our nose to spite our face.
Yes.
One moment, sir. Femi in Surulere, good morning.
Yeah, good day.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
I love that your cap, that's Panama. Okay, good day to all of you.
Thank you.
My own contribution is this, is that particular aspect of the Constitution which says that they should have a joint account is still the same. The meaning of that joint account is that the tax that the state government collects, they should also share with the local government.
You're talking about the state joint local government account?
At this state joint local government account, the people who did it, they did it in a very good faith. But at the end of the day, the governors overtook everything. So the issue of giving the local government their direct money, you know what I'm saying, is very...
Oh, we lost him.
Was he going to say it's very good or it's a very dangerous?
Sounding like that. Sounding like
I think he was very dangerous.
No, from where he started, he is in support of
he was inching towards
their money directly.
Just as the former honorable from Akure was also in support, even though he did admit that there will be losses.
Yes.
Yeah, but the losses are equally being incurred at the level of the state, at the level of the federal. So, yes, they do a little. There's still a little. So if we must do and steal,
unfortunate that we're speaking in these terms?
Is
it not unfortunate?
Let it not be limited to
that we are speaking in these terms openly?
It's quite unfortunate.
It's embarrassing.
It's not a question of saying it. This is what is. That is what is happening.
It's quite embarrassing.
You know, as shameful as it is, but that is what is. But the man is saying that rather than concentrate the whole thing in one place for one person to steal, spread it so that those who will steal will be more. That's the point he's making.
There is a point he's making that, but I don't think he was making it from the stealing end.
Whichever way.
He was making it from the end of achieving
some impact
of the benefits. Yes, some impact.
Are you getting it? So it will spread. For me, I think it will give
this conversation has turned a bit embarrassing.
But do you know that?
Because we are conceding that there will be losses.
There will be losses.
But this kind of attitude of there will be losses that is making this creation of state police a challenge. Oh, the governors will abuse it. The president is a saint. It's a spirit. It's not a human being. You can't abuse it. So it's only governors who are human that can abuse it.
I get your point. You were going to say.
Yes, you see, like you have said, the
conversation has turned a bit embarrassing. Now that we are conceding that they will steal some, but at least let them use the rest. And we're not even joking, unfortunately.
We are not looking at it.
Somebody called and told us that if he was there,
he was a member of State House of Assembly.
I will just be moderate.
And
I will leave some for development.
There are constitutional issues, you know, that we may be losing sight of. One, you know, because even as it is now, the monitoring, the supervision, and auditing of local government accounts is under the state. So by the time, you know, it is the money is sent down, you know, to them directly, that role who plays it?
Okay.
Who plays it?
No, they will still play it.
Okay, one moment, sir. Let me not stop them from playing. Let's not lose Johanna. We can return to this aspect of it. Good morning, Johanna in Ikeja.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I think that generally we've got the theory right, which is that in a federation, the federal or the central and the regional or the states, you know, have sovereignty. But this initiative of sending the money directly to the local governments is correct, in my view, in the sense that people at the localities who are directly linked with the local government councils can now begin to go directly to the local government chairman and the councillors and ask, where is the money? Before now, if you tried to do that, the local government chairman and his councillors could hide behind one finger and say that they have not received the funds from the federal government. So for me, it's all about transparency and accountability. For as long as the federal government will say this is how much we have sent to the local governments, and the local governments should be directed, even by the people that they serve, to also be transparent in the way the funds are expended, then we may begin to, at the local levels, have some measure of sanity. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Johanna. Yes.
Well, I do not know what makes us believe that, and we have all alluded to that fact, believe that once this is done, it is the be-all and end-all of corruption at the local government level. What makes us think that the corruption cannot even get bigger? Because now they have the funds, to toy with. And that brings me to, this concept in criminology about the factors that need to be present for crime to be committed. And I think that is what we should concentrate on. They tell you that 3 factors are necessary, to be complete before a crime is committed. 1, the opportunity to commit the crime. There must be an escape route, and there must be an assurance that the offender will never be found out. When these 3 are completed, when they are complete, then you will have the crime being easily committed. So I think that what we should actually concentrate on is to build a system that, one, does not allow the opportunity to exist, that does not give an escape route, and that even when you escape, you will be called back to come and account for your action.
Okay. Yakub in Dokwemu, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. This your Panama is so enticing to every one of us. Good morning to your guests.
Thank you, Yakub.
Good morning. I'm of opinion of support this local government autonomy. I will give you a typical example quickly. In my local government in my village, if I mentioned this local government now, Mr. Yori, you know what I'm talking about. The general election that we just concluded in Oyo State, the deputy governor of candidates of APC in that state happened to come from my local government. And then this man, do you know before they picked this man, he was a chairman of that local government. You know what this man normally do? At times, when the money comes down, the man will show up once in a week, once in a month. Immediately they share the money, it will vanish. You know what the local people tell him when they pick him as a deputy government to run under APC? They told the APC hierarchy in that state that, come, this person that you pick is going to lose this election in this very particular local government. They said why? They said this man has never constructed a mile road in this state. He has never done anything in this local government. How come you pick him as a deputy governor? They now begin to paint a picture that forget about it, and all that. They told them, that he's going to lose. Do you know, Chigari? People are not told him that. Come and tell us what to use the money that you are getting for. We are getting from the governor, from the way you are a local government chairman. Tell us, if you can be able to account to us, we are going to give our vote to you. If he cannot be able to account for the money that he got, what happened? In polling unit, he got only 2 votes, him and his wife. And then they lost that election in that local government. Why am I supporting is that the people will now hold the responsibility of asking questions. Because we know that the money comes direct from the federal government to local government account now. Where is the money? We have to account for this. That's it. It's a transparency we need. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Yakub, for calling in. Okay, we'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're just having, between me and the production crew, we're having a sort of a little conversation on the correct pronunciation of where this call is coming from. Is it from Abuja? Is it from Abuja? Or is it from one more variant? They gave me one more variant. Abuja. Abuja. Well, waiting for us in Abuja is Emmanuel. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, and good morning to the panelists.
Okay, then thank you for calling in.
I think on this issue, I want to agree with the honorable that called from Jondo or Akure.
Emmanuel, you want to agree with Honorable Kule that called him from Akure?
We eat a little.
I was in Bauchi in 2002.
Okay.
I had a project in 2002 in Bauchi, and the then governor, Adamu Muazu, was addressing a group of contractors. This is an open domain. And he said the best way to steal is to walk. And what he meant then is, if you have 15 naira to walk, and you inflate that same job for 17 naira, and you end up doing that 15 naira job, you would have ended with 20 naira in your pocket. And he was warning those contractors that it's better for them to add a little to whatever they believe they want to steal and deliver on the mandate that he wants for his state. And I can tell you, shortly after Adamu Muazu left governance in Bauchi, every successive governor in Bauchi went to sleep because they had nothing to do again. There is a place called Bayangeri in Bauchi. Anybody that knows there, call and find out. That place is total slum. Julius Berger worked there for over 8 months and returned that place to a mega city. And he stole money, no doubt about that. They are stealing money at the federal level. They are stealing money on the state level. So let nobody.
So why shouldn't it be stolen at the local government level?
Local government are giving money, they will steal the money. No, they will equally do one or two things with it. Look at Kaduna, for instance. The man in Kaduna has given financial autonomy to local government. There are killing going on in Kajuru. In that place, when I watch from your TV station here, there is no road leading to that place. Where is the local government chairman there? What is he doing? Those are the questions people around that vicinity should start asking, because this thing has already taken place in Kaduna. I'm aware that there is financial autonomy in that area. He has given them that sort of financial autonomy. So people should start asking questions. So nobody should hide behind this joint account thing and be telling us one or two stories that money is not their money. But when it is time for election, that all the billions will surface from nowhere.
So in conclusion, Emmanuel, do you endorse this direct from the Federation account?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yes.
Thank you very much for calling in. You know, it's as I was saying, it is getting a bit embarrassing. But people are sort of like keeping it real with these allegations of what they think is going on at these levels. In fact, people are now.
We call it allegation, even though we know it's true.
We know it's true.
Are you saying that we should just park there? That look, we know it's true.
But it's real.
But
all these matter about stealing.
They are just mentioned names to you.
You know, I talked about.
People will talk. I mean, you can't say those things as fact, or can you?
But if you don't know, what are you saying? That we don't know that is what is.
But you know, I talked about evolving, an error, free system, kind of error-proof system that can take care of these issues that are coming up. And as we can see now, from this conversation, we then see that the motive behind this action, this move, may not be realized at the end of the day. From the discussion, from this conversation,
from the reaction we're getting to it and people's mindset, of what is going to be.
Whose motive are we looking at now?
That is the motive behind NFIU.
Good.
The motive of NFIU.
We need a reforms mindset, don't we? But one moment. Let me not keep Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu. Let me not keep him waiting. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Thank you, sir. How is Arochukwu?
Arochukwu is bubbling with vegetable and okporoko.
That's good.
You see, the autonomy of the local government is very, very important. That's paramount important. The joint account is not healthy for any development. That is why we have Party A in any state, landslide victory during local government election. Because Each legislation like ours now, there is a way that governors should stop all these appointments, caretaker committee, this and that, conduct proper, free and transparent elections. Whether the opposition party wins half, the party in the reading will win half. It will make us have a sound, free and now this issue of sharing money under the tree is everywhere, my brother. Now that is why you see there's no local government you go there, you not see some good trees that have a shade. Any local government in Nigeria, because that is where the bank is. When they bring, they don't need to go to the office because there's no time to waste. They will just everybody collect their own and find their way. When time for payment come, everybody just come assemble. These are the problems.
I mean, this morning you people decided that you want to keep it real. You want to keep it real, as they say over in America. You decided you want to keep it real this morning, right?
Oh my God.
Oh, Mazi, I don't know what happened to the line. We lost it. But can we just get back on track? That what caused all of this is that the Financial Intelligence Unit has said that there's a sort of a refinement and that inefficiencies that were observed in this whole matter of the state joint local government accounts might be addressed by a new directive. And everybody is to cooperate. Everybody, what is it? At the peril of sanction. Everybody must cooperate. From the bank CEO to the governor to interested parties, you must cooperate in this new directive. But people are now saying that, all well and good, but there seem to be concerns for the funds when they arrive through this direct chute. This direct chute of the federation to local government. People seem to be concerned.
Let's look at it. Was the joint account meant for the governor to,
to meddle with?
Exactly.
To control?
And that's part of the problem.
Was it meant for the governor personal use?
So initiative is taken away from local government.
Both of us have an account. There are principles, there are rules, there are conditions. So have we been operating it the way it ought to be operated? That has not been happening. All right? Now, but we now see that the governor has an upper hand. And because of that, in some cases, they are like demigods. What do we do? I think that is part of what is informing this new move. Now, but the question is that if the idea is to ensure that there is maybe minimal
more probity. People talked about
they've got it wrong.
Citizens being able to now, citizens now being able to ask direct questions.
Yes.
And as one gentleman put it, you can't hide behind one finger anymore.
Yeah, but again, have we not been hiding behind one finger with the governors? Have we been asking the questions? It's the same thing. The same scenario will happen because, in fact, the local government might even be worse because they are closer to us. Maybe the person.
Which was the point somebody made that
because the person they are our own.
That what we are fearing could even be worse.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. You see, it could even precipitate more commotion, you understand, at the local government level. Because now you've not been hearing so much of bickering between the local government chairman and his councillors. Now you will be having so much of that.
Even the community heads, there hasn't been much clashes, because. But I think we even need that clash. Let the money come straight to the local government. Let the community heads and the people of the neighborhood, the various communities, actually make demands on the local government chairman. You must demand for accountability.
Yes.
You must demand for probity. They must show us how judiciously they have used what. But importantly too, we must always be given the figures from the national. Tell us how much is going to each state. Tell us how much is going to each local government. That we will be able to, follow up so that at the time you release $1 billion to a local government and all we are seeing is the effect of 100,000 naira.
Okay.
We'll be able to raise questions.
Ibrahim in Kwara State, good morning. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Ibrahim, Kwara.
Yes.
Okay, good morning.
Ismail.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Ismail. Sorry, my mistake. Please go ahead, Ismail.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sincere. Okay, good morning, everyone there.
Good morning.
Thank you. We've responded.
I'm really appreciate the program and seriously I support the motion that Hello?
We
Go
can
ahead,
hear
go
you.
ahead,
We can
just
hear
go
you.
ahead,
Yeah,
don't
with you.
forget about what you are hearing back. Just keep talking.
Okay. I support the local government autonomy
Good.
because in Kwara State here, for the past 8 years, not any state project in my local government, Kayama local government. So, hello?
Yes, we can
are
hear
with
you.
We are with you.
Nothing has happened in Kayama.
Nothing has happened in Kayama local government for the past 8 years.
And you
Not
think
state-
if the
not-
money
not-
come direct,
not-
something will happen?
Abi?
No state project in Kayama local government. So therefore, if we have our own autonomy in local government here, in fact, we have a very big, there will be an infrastructural development.
But,
So,
Ismail,
Yes,
some people will say that depends on the quality of the man that you people have elected to be the chairman and his councillors. If will you trust them every time?
In fact, the education level in Kayama local government is high. We have quality educated people. So when we have our local government chairman, we are always assured of them that there will be a person that will deliver very well.
Okay. Oh.
Yes. So,
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for calling in. Him making the point that Kayama, where he comes from, resides, nothing has happened. But if this Financial Intelligence Unit directive is in place now, at least I know my people got money. And so you can expect me there to say, what's shaking? Nothing, I've not seen your hand.
I don't see that as even a solution. Because now, and equally made the point that they have a lot of highly educated people.
Yes.
How many of them have actually asked the governor any question? How many of those chairmen have raised any issue? Are they saying that they don't have a right to that account? Is it a question of gift? So how many of them have shown that intelligence? And look,
well,
we have this
thing has become
entitlement.
a
We have not gotten it.
convention. This
So-
thing has become a convention.
so
and
you
it's
cannot
very,
see that
it's
it's
very difficult, is it
Beautiful.
not?
So you
Is
can
it
see that it's not even a question of whether they're educated or not. All right? Because chances are that even those local government chairmen he's talking about were just planted by the governor. How are they going to ask him questions? How are they going to raise any issue?
So
whatever he gives it.
So you're saying, Dan, that if we're not careful, this directive actually won't solve much. That seems to be what you're saying.
No, clearly it's not going to solve the problem we're trying to address. But I'm not saying that we should avoid it. All right?
Because there definitely are pluses in there.
The ideal is that you are
There are
bringing,
pluses
you are
in
bringing
there.
governance closer to the grassroots.
Okay.
Closer to the people.
Yes.
All right? Now, when this funds
And you're enabling them. You're enabling the grassroots.
Ideally, that's what should be. Let's hope that we'll be able to actually, put the right people in the councils and ensure that they deliver on whatever mandate. So that we don't have this case of, it's our son, it's our daughter. So whatever has happened, that should not be. Because we have this attitude of, do I call it patronage? That somebody will do something wrong just because it's from your community also. You don't want to see the wrong he has done.
Okay.
So
one moment,
we must address all the issues.
Let me cross over to the UK and get their perspective. Ibi is in the UK. In fact, Honorable Ibi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. I want to contribute there quickly.
Yes.
The autonomy of a thing is very good, and it will let's say that the local government is the first step to democracy, isn't it? Because it's a grassroots election or process. But it will not work if the state still conducts the election for the local government. So the autonomy will be like nothing in existence if the state still conducts it. Otherwise, I think I'm up for it.
So who
but
should
it
conduct
will not be a right process.
So what would be the right process of election conducting?
The right process will be for INEC or the federal government to conduct the election.
Okay.
Maybe
okay.
INEC is manned by agents.
Okay, I get the point you're making. But you see, you say that you have a conditional appreciation of this line.
Yes.
So you appreciate it in as long as the right people happen to be there in the local government level.
It's not just the right people. It's not the state conducting the local government elections.
So those will be the wrong people. But if it is conducted right,
It
then the right people.
doesn't matter who conducts. Let it be said that does it really matter who conducts the election.
For as long as
It
it's
does,
done in
because-
line with the laws.
Because even INEC that we are talking about is not manned.
No, I think
by
we're just
a-
going back to the point that has already been made, that
it's-
these local governments are often installed by cronies
yes,
of
yes,
the
but
governor.
the issue
That
is
is the fear
this.
is
But the
expensive.
issue that is that.
But has
that-
INEC
yeah.
done it
And
better?
you people observed here that
and-
the pattern in Nigeria is that the ruling party in any state takes over
yes,
all over the local.
but there is a solution to that. There is a solution to that. The solution is for us to develop our electoral system to such a level that it does not matter who conducts the election, that the right thing will be done. That is so, because if you look at, for me, I'm a federalist, and I know, and I want to go by, the dictates of the Constitution in all of this. If you look at it, the Constitution has placed local government council election, within the purview of the state government. And unless we go and amend the Constitution,
we don't even
we
need the
can't.
amendment. The state can conduct the election.
So, but let us develop our electoral system.
Okay.
Even the one conducted by INEC is still subject,
Yeah,
to
Heavy litigation.
disputations.
Okay,
litigation.
Joshua in Irewole, Ogun State. Good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And I join the people commending your new branding. You're always looking fantastic.
I assure you it's only temporary, but thank you very much.
Your guests are doing justice to this matter. I love the fact that we need to look at our institutions. I'll give you an example quickly. Within our communities, we have our small estates and we have unions to run our development. Within those small estates, when we contribute money, leaders eat the money. And then when they eat the money, they come up with this divide and rule of, is my person, whether by church affiliation, by village affiliation. And then you find out that those who are trying to make them accountable are treated as enemies. And they begin to even threaten and kill people. When you go into this local government autonomy and you give 1 billion to local government under the present system, just be ready for a harvest of dead bodies. That is what is going to happen in our country. We are not accountable people. We love development. When you give money to them, they say it's our own, it's our turn. They want to share the money. We haven't appreciated the need for us to focus on development. So putting the structure that we checkmate first, this election should be conducted by federal or a strengthened INEC. And then let us look at the point that this money that comes to whether a local government or whatever it is tied to an EFCC knowing the money is going, what the money is going to be used for, not left in the hands of the community.
High-level monitoring.
If not, we kill ourselves. Corruption is killing us. If Buhari can help us out of this situation, where we have institutions that will checkmate corruption, then we can talk about putting money directly in the hands of local councils.
But until then,
it's like
but until then, are you? Do you have reservations about this new idea?
Okay, no, let it work. Let it be in place. But like the person that called from UK, let the election not be conducted by state government. If not, it will still be the same.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in some level of independence. What is showing up here is a deep mistrust. In fact, it's a moral crisis.
It is.
It's a moral crisis.
That is what this conversation has thrown up.
And this is what this conversation has thrown up. And quite frankly, it's a problem.
Yeah,
because it's the very. What kind of a foundation are we now having this conversation on? We wanted to have it on an ideal case scenario, and people are pointing out very, very quickly. Say, hang on with your idealism. Can we just get a bit practical and understand, pragmatic, and know what is on ground between today and tomorrow?
from what is on ground and what we already know, the governors come from local governments. The commissioners come from local governments. You know, they are from among the people as well. There's nothing special about the state that will be different at the local government. The thieves are everywhere. So if we begin to look at it from the point of view of it's at the local government that most stealing will be done, I think we are getting it wrong.
It's an interesting
direction
and dimension that this conversation has taken.
What
we started out wanting to look at what the financial intelligence unit has come up with, and then you brought the constitutional aspects to bear, and then this whole dross,
the emphasis,
this whole dross is coming up,
is that
suggesting that we must find a way with the war against corruption since Buhari came.
Let's leave the issue of the war against corruption now, because it's a war for the people. It's not for Buhari. It's the people who should fight it. Now, if we know that the money is our own and is coming to the local government, I think it is the people who should begin to demand, you know, from this chairman and whatever, what ought to be done.
Because the
we
gentleman
can't wait
who
for
spoke
Buhari to
but the gentleman who spoke last, he spoke about a very, very, keen and high level of monitoring of these funds.
That should be done everywhere.
Every segment to every
segment. All levels.
I got to squeeze in Ibrahim in Ibadan. Good morning, Ibrahim in Ibadan. Our last caller. Ibrahim, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Good morning. Okay, quickly, please. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning to the guests on the program. Please.
Sure.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Actually, it's a very nice thing hearing about this issue of autonomous of the local government. But, Uncle Ori, please, I want to take your memory back to during the time of Babangida. When Babangida felt that the local government being the closest to the people, he now said that the local government should be paying primary school teachers. We knew a lot of things that happened there, that some schools could not go to school for over a month when the local government contract the salary that's supposed to pay the teachers. So if NFIU wants this to be, if they can be giving us assurance that they will monitor how local government money are being spent, I think that would be better.
Okay.
But the kind of what we are enjoying nowadays, I believe is because we don't give so much responsibility to all these local governments. Because if you are giving much responsibility, you will realize that being what we are, Nigerians, the way we all used to behave, you will realize that they will just ponder everything at the end of the day, you will not able to see anything. But the fact that they have somebody that's supervising them like all these state governors, though they are doing their own too, I think it's making it a bit better. So I think it's just like one of your guys today said, we need to look for a way in such a way that in our constitution we reform the constitution in such a way that
Thank you very much. Appreciate, thank you. It's a bit sad when he got to that part about knowing who we are, and I've seen, if you permit me to say, Demola, that you've gotten sad as this conversation has progressed.
No, it's so embarrassing.
It got to be depressing, not to mention embarrassing when people begin to phone in. I don't know. Dan, being the doctor, and doctors don't betray too much emotion. You've been dispassionate about it. That you said there are thieves everywhere.
They are everywhere.
And that's unfortunate. But we're not. Well,
no, but the emphasis is not really on those thieves. It's on how best to utilize. Now, what we should do really is to ensure that even the system that brings in the local government leadership,
we should check that out
properly, monitored. Because until we do a proper,
that's where we're going to have to leave
analysis of that, it will continue.
That's where we're going to have to leave it. And I want to thank you very much, Ademola Adegoke, communications expert, for helping us look at this topic, as well as Dr. Dan Ekere of the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
So that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.